He's first elected in 2002, so this is 10 years. At present, he serves as the chairman of the Retirement Committee and co-chairs the Career and Technical Advisory Education Advisory Committee. In 2010, he received the Policy Maker of the Year Award from the Georgia Association for Career and Technical Education. He also was awarded Legislator of the Year 2009-2010 from the Georgia branch of the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. So let's welcome Howard Maxwell.
I've been warned I got too many cameras on me to say what I really.
Oh, come on!
I was introduced at a event last November. A friend of mine introduced me, and we were roasting a guy's 70th birthday, and he gave me a flowery introduction and told me about how great I was and all the great things I'd done. He told me, said, I'm fluent in 2 languages, English and profanity. So I'll try to keep it pretty clean today. This is 4 years. I can't believe y'all keep inviting me back. There's got to be something the matter with y'all. Your thought processes are not too good there.
You're cheap.
I'm cheap. That's a good thing. Okay. Jody came in a while ago, and he come up to me and said, "Here, we're having a great speaker today. When's he going to get here? Do you have any idea?" So I said, "I don't know, but whoever told you that, you need to start checking on who they are, because they will get you in trouble." It is a pleasure to be here. I have been in the legislature. This is the 10th year. Prior to getting in the legislature, I was on the school board for about 13 and a half years. And Kim, thank you for your service, madam. That was $50 a month and all the aggravation you could stand. I think we've given you a little raise since then, since I was on the board. Mm-hmm. Before you got there, that's right. Yeah, gave a little bit more money. But I am in the legislature, and it's an honor for me to serve Paulding County. Now, right now, I do currently serve Western Paulding and Eastern Haralson County. I go from Dallas to Buchanan. Of course, we redrew the maps last August in special session, and next year, I have about 80,000 people in my district. Lady in the 19th district, the other part of that, Paulding County, had about 77,000 or so. So to get down to the ideal district for 180 state reps, we had to be at about 53,800 or so. So I had to give up about 26,000 people, and she had to give up quite a number. I gave up Haralson County and part of South Paulding on the west side of the county. Bill Hembry, a great guy out of Douglasville, is going to be coming up in District 68 and taking part of my old district. And then down in the southeastern side, Paulette gave up 20-something thousand folks, and there's a new district coming out of Douglasville. It's going to be District 66, and there's 3 gentlemen running for that. So next year, our delegation in the House will double. We'll have 4 state reps, and then still maintain 2 senators. So there'll be 4 guys to pick on. But hey, I'd still like to come back and talk to you, though. What the heck? So, keep me coming back. Let's keep it. I told them at the table, this has been 4 years in a row. I said, hey, I'm running for re-election. Let's try to make it 6. But anyway, I thank you for allowing me to serve. It is a pleasure. I have a real job. I'm an All-State agent. I've been with All-State. June will be starting 36 years. So I do have to work for a living. I'm not retired. And I told someone that's my real job, and this is the fun stuff I get to do. I am chairman of the Retirement Committee. We look after the TRS, the money that is invested for the teacher's retirement, the employee retirement system, the legislative retirement, judicial retirement, peace officers retirement, firefighters funds, PSERSers, the bus drivers, lunchroom workers, their retirement. There's about $64 billion, roughly, in state pension money at that comes through our committee when there's legislation dealing with anything dealing with retirement. It comes through my committee. And I'll tell you about a couple of pieces of legislation we dealt with this year. I'm also on appropriations, education appropriations. I'm on the education committee, and I'm vice chair of the insurance committee. So those are the committees that I serve on down there. The budget, that's always the only thing that we're responsible for doing every year is going down there and passing a balanced budget. We can't print money. We can't do things like the federal government do and borrow ahead. We can either tax you more or we can spend less. So what we've done since the recession hit in 2008, we were up to about $21.2 billion in our state budget prior to the recession. Since then, we dropped at about $4 billion. We were down 2 years ago to $17 billion. We've cut it $4 billion. Now, you think that don't hurt when you're trying to balance a checkbook with $4 billion less than what you spent a couple of years ago? That hurt. And we've heard it from everybody. We try to spread the pain. We try to keep education as small as possible, but when 54% of your budget goes into education and 90% of that goes to teachers' salaries or some type of salary in the school systems, we have to cut it. Jim, I'm sorry, but you knew we had to cut money out of the schools. We had to cut the QBE funding. We just did everything we could. We tried to help in some ways by allowing them more flexibility. We gave them flexibility with class sizes. We took some of the requirements. We had onerous requirements about only spending money in particular areas. If we gave you a bucket of money, you had to spend that bucket in the area that we told you to spend it in. We took a lot of these requirements out. But basically, we cut the budget down to $17 billion. This year, we've passed a balanced budget of $19.2 billion, so we're back up $2 billion since the recession. Georgia is slowly recovering. It's a slow recovery. We, from 2011 to the 12 budget, we're up about $928 million, about 5% growth or so. That $928 million, you think, God, it's a lot of money. We can do a lot with that. Well, we believe it or not, we're still growing in Georgia. School systems are still growing. We took the biggest part of that money and fully funded the growth in the FTE counts for the last year and gave that to the school systems under the QBE formula. Another portion of it had to go for Medicare and Medicaid. That's one of the second largest parts of our state budget. Goes taking care of the people that really can't take care of themselves. And then corrections. That's another 10% of our budget goes to take care of the people that we don't want on the streets. And I hate to say that, but we want to keep some of them locked up. And we did some things this year to try to minimize some of the effect of who we're putting in prison. Some of these nonviolent offenders. We're trying to find ways to get them out. And I'll mention something about that in a minute. But anyway, we did balance the budget. One thing about our budget, the 2008 budget contains over $2 billion more in state revenues, and we've got $500,000. We've got still more residents in the state of Georgia than we had before. But what I want to tell you, the FY13 budget, it operates on 20% less per capita spending than we had in 2003. So in 10 years, we've got more people in the state of Georgia. Our population grew to nearly 10 million people in the state of Georgia, but on a per capita spending, so much that every dime we're spending per person in the state of Georgia, we're 20% less than we were in 2003. So that's how much we've had to cut. Now, as soon as Republicans took over, Sonny Perdue was elected in 2002. We took over 2003. Recession. We had the recession. All the money had been gone out of the rainy day fund. Our predecessor had spent, we had like $750 million in there. That money got gone before we took office in January. And it seemed like for the last 10 years we've been fighting a battle with the budget down there. But we've got the rainy day fund back up now to $328 million. We increased it 183% since 2010. As I said, the money that we spend is $19.2 billion. Education gets 54.5%, health care 22.5%, public safety right at 10%, remaining areas about 13%. So we're trying to do a good job with your money. That's your tax dollars. We're trying not to raise taxes, but we're trying to be really frugal and take care of your money, because I know how hard it is to get. I know how much I hate paying taxes. I got with my accountant in April. I tried to get stuff ready for it in April. I have not filed my taxes. I just lay it out on the table. I've got paperwork scattered on 3 tables and a desk at the house trying to get that stuff ready. God, I hate getting stuff up for taxes. I have filed an extension for you guys that are on the camera. There is an extension filed. My CPA took care of that for me. So I am not delinquent in my taxes. All my property taxes are paid. And I'm going to have it to him by the end of this month so he can have it filed by July the 15th. Thank you very much. So, just a little clarification there. But God, I hate paying taxes. I do it on a quarterly basis. Every month I subtract. First thing I do when I get my little check from Allstate, I subtract for taxes. That's the biggest darn portion of what I pay every month out of my check. I just take it right off the top, subtract it out of the operating balance, and just pretend like that money never existed. And God, I hate that. But anyway, such is life. We passed a comprehensive tax reform package this year. I'm going to move ahead so you can ask a few questions. House Bill 386, there's a couple of things that you need to be aware of that if you haven't heard it. The birthday tax. How many of you has a birthday every year? Everybody. I hope everybody has a birthday every year. What do you have to do when you get your birthday? Go buy your car tags. That's right. Well, starting in March of 2013, when you buy a new car, you will not have to go up there and pay the birthday tax. What we've done, some like it, some don't. I think it's a pretty good idea. We passed a bill this year that eliminated the birthday tax. It also eliminated the sales tax on your vehicle. But guess what? We replaced it with a fee. It's now called a title fee. It's not a tax, damn it. It's not a tax. It's a, well, maybe it is. I don't know. My coffee guys just gave me hell about this. I have breakfast every morning, about 8 or 10 guys, and they just give me fits about this. You call it a fee, we call it a tax. I don't care what you say, you know. But right now, you have your ad valorem that you pay on your birthday. When you buy a car, you pay usually about an average of 7% sales tax on the vehicle. From the rest of this year, when you purchase a vehicle, you can opt either to do the title fee, which is 6.5% this year. By 2015, it's going to go up to about 7%, and then level out there. You will not have to pay the sales tax. You will not have to pay the birthday tax. Now, between the rest of this year, you've got the option of like I said, doing it either way. If you want to go ahead and just pay the sales tax and then have the ad valorem kick in every year on your birthday, you can do that. After March of next year, February next year, it will only be the title fee that you'll have to pay. Now, the thing that's going to kick in on this is all the casual sales. We're the only state pretty much in the country that has never taxed casual sales on vehicles. So if you are a big proponent of taking vehicles and setting them on the side of the road and putting the for sale sign in the vehicle, and I did that for years. I've got a little house on Macklin Road right there, and I have sold hundreds of cars off my little place down there where I used to live. I used to buy and fix them up. So I got tired of getting grease under my fingernails. But if casual sales now will be taxed. So it's not just going to be used cars and new car sales. The exclusion is immediate family members. If you got a son, daughter, grandson, immediate family member, you can transfer the title between immediate family members and not pay the tax on it, okay? The marriage penalty. You're in here married and you file a joint return every year. You have been paying more in income tax. You have not been getting the same deduction as single folks. So what we did this year in this bill is raise the exemption $2,000 from $5,400 to $7,400 for the marriage exemption. Agricultural exemptions were cobbled together over the years. For example, if you could get an energy used to heat and cool poultry houses, was exempt from taxes. But if you raised swine or did any other kind of stuff, of livestock or whatever, your energy costs were taxed. Okay, now what's special about chickens? It eat, but you know, I don't know. But anyway, we've cobbled all this. We took all that and include 3 broad areas now for agricultural exemptions: energy, machinery, equipment, other inputs like seeds, fertilizer, insecticides. Agriculture is the largest single industry in the state of Georgia, and we need to try to do something to put those guys something good out there so that they can stay busy. That's the largest industry we have in the state of Georgia. People that retire, they're going to like this. We've set the income tax exclusion for seniors $65,000 per individual, $130,000 per couple. If you're retired and if you're age 65, that's the level. Age 62 is $37,000 and whatever double 37,500 is, you can figure that out per couple. But that's, if you're 62, you get that exemption. If you're 65, you get to $65,000, $130,000. Sales tax holiday for school supplies is going to go on for 2 years. The other big thing we did in this bill is the internet trade. And I suspect most of you guys in here have brick and mortar buildings. Y'all work out of an office or something. Some of you may do a lot of internet selling, I don't know. But we decided and determined that it was not fair for our brick and mortar businesses to pay taxes. They are required by the state to pay taxes. Internet stuff coming in, if you bought it off the internet, you as a consumer were the one that was supposed to file your forms. How many of you bought stuff off the internet? Amazon.com, whatever. How many of y'all have ever filled out a form to pay your taxes on that? Hello. Thank you. Liar. I never did it. I bought stuff off of Amazon 2 or 3 places. Okay, so we're trying to fix that. We're trying to get that internet money coming back in. It's just not fair to the people that have to pay for the locations, the brick and mortar and everything else. So we're working to get the E-Trade caught with the taxes that everybody else has to pay. So may have some questions about that. Education, you've heard a lot about the House Bill 1162, the Charter School Act. That was a real contentious issue this year. It was really a tough way to go on that, tough decision. We did pass the enabling legislation, House Bill 767, and the constitutional amendment. You'll get to vote on whether you think the state should allow charter schools to be established if they're turned down by the local system. I don't see a run on people going out here trying to establish charter schools. Some of them that have been out for 4 or 5 years now have not got the contract renewed. Usually you get a charter contract for 5 years. You have to prove that you're doing the right thing, that your money's there, that everything's going good for your students, and you have to come back and get a renewal on that. I just don't see this being opening the floodgates for charter schools when we do this. If the people of Georgia decide to pass it, I don't think that's going to be a real big issue there. 706 was an education bill we passed that repeals over 30 outdated and unfunded statutes in Title 20. One was a requirement that state board meetings had to be held in Atlanta. Several programs were never implemented. Something as a career ladder program, I'd never even heard of that. We had a prohibition on the use of personal electronic communications in the classroom. Most of the classrooms have computers now. So, I mean, that was some crazy stuff that we got rid of. We did an equalization funding. We have wealthy systems and we have poor systems. We've got some systems in South Georgia that have 800,000 students. Personally, my hang up on that is, why do we have school systems that are so small? They need to be consolidated. We don't need administrators and everything running around down there. They have not allowed me to be a dictator yet, so I can't make those changes. But I just don't understand it. But anyway, we got what we call wealthy school systems, and then the ones that need money. And we have an equalization formula we take from the rich and we give to the poor every year. Through the equalization formula, basically, Paulding County pays in to the equalization formula. We've changed that somewhat to try to make it a little easier and a little fairer. We've taken out the top 5%, I think, of the wealthiest, top 5% of the lowest. We averaged out the ones in the middle out here to sort of come at an average of where we should be. Bottom line, we got this passed, and we think it's going to bring in hopefully about $4 to $6 million more, or let Paulding County keep about $4 to $6 million more of our school budget when this thing works out, and get it through all the actuarial areas there. But there is that was something I think that needed to be done. What else we do in education? Always do a lot of stuff. Everybody wants to do something in education. Everybody's an education person down there. Insurance, real quick. Let me talk to you about a couple of things in insurance. I know we got a couple of insurance folks in here. Starting next year, your license will be every 2 years. There's about 36,000 people in the state of Georgia that have various types of license. They either have an agent's license, a adjuster's license, or sub-agents, company corporate licenses. Every year, at the end of December, we had to file and get our continuing education turned in and do the paperwork and get our license renewed every year. Before we had so much of it done electronically, the insurance department would hire tons of people to come in and as temporaries to get all these licenses processed. And it would still be February, March before we get some of them. What we did this year is change it to a birthday license. It's going to phase in over a 2-year period that you get your agent license or your adjuster license on your birthday. It's going to be good for 2 years. So it's going to be phased in. You've got to double your continuing education. If you're required to have 15 continuing ed hours a year, you've got to have 30. But I think that will help sort of smooth out the process. Just like we used to do, remember when we had to get the tag insurance? I've been selling insurance for a long, long time. And before we changed to the birthdays on buying your tag, every March, around the middle of March, people come into my office and say, I need to buy some of that tag insurance. I say, excuse me? Tag insurance? You know, next month I got to go buy my tag. I need tag insurance. I said, no, you need insurance. Well, you need insurance all year long, not just for them couple of months to buy your tag and then cancel it. So that's why I run those people out of the office. But honest to God, they'd come in there and buy tag insurance. As soon as they got their tag, they'd cancel the dang policy. We stopped that a couple of years ago, too. You know, we got the geek system now that tracks your, once you cancel your insurance, we notify the state sends a letter to the county tag office, you'll get a letter. You'll be surprised how many people now come back in there, man, I got a notice, y'all going to suspend my license. Yep. Let your insurance cancel, did you? Probably 3 times this year. Yep. Cost you $85, get it reinstated, but that ain't right. Don't matter. Should be canceled. Anyway, I'm off. Second bill we passed in insurance, it was a good one, was the metal theft bill. Anybody ever lost any air conditioners or electric wire? Any houses been stripped out? Copper? Church has been robbed? I see that hand. Yes, ma'am. You want to testify? Our church lost 3 air conditioners last summer. I think it was 2 summers ago. They stole 3 air conditioners from our church. We've got security cameras and a fence around it now. But anyway, we got a metal theft bill passed that's places additional purchasing requirements on the secondary metal recyclers. They can limit the individuals who can sell the copper coil or the wires. And, you know, that's a shame. They steal $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 air conditioner to get $200 or $300 worth of copper out of it in the coil there. Just absolutely ridiculous. But they've got to have additional information to be kept on the records of everybody that sells this copper. It provides for forfeiture processing when copper has been taken illegally. And at one time we had they could not give any cash for payment of copper. They'd have to write a check and make a copy. They're supposed to be making copies of the driver's license to everybody bring in the copper. Anyway, we hope that that'll work and prohibit a little bit of what's going on there. Okay, we talked about the budget, education, insurance. Under the retirement committee that I chair, we passed a couple of bills this year. One of them was Senate Bill 402. We started this in the Senate. We had tried it for about 8 years. Georgia is the only state in the nation that did not allow the retirement systems to invest in what we call alternative investments. And I brought a list here that sort of tells you what alternative investments are. We can only invest in treasuries, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that. And we fought this battle 3 or 4 times. And 3 years ago, we had a bill come through, or 4 years ago, and the retirement fund came to us and said it was going to be a statewide deal to allow all the retirement systems to invest in alternative investments. And it just created uproar. The teachers just went bananas. You know, it was all going to go to hell. The world was going to come to an end if we did this. ERS, TRS just went crazy on it. The firefighters fund came and said, okay, our board of directors said, we'd like to try this. Can y'all limit this bill just for the firefighters' retirement fund? I said, sure. And I had to make a guarantee, swallow an oath, blood oath, cut my hand, and all this kind of stuff, and tell them that with no, if it came back amended from the Senate, I would kill the bill in committee. But we allowed the firefighters to do it, so they've been doing this for about 4 years. This January, the ERS Board of Trustees voted that they wanted to be allowed to invest in alternative investments. So their board voted on it and sent us the information, and we got a bill through the Senate and got it through the House this year. First time that we've been able to get one of our major retirement systems the ability to invest in alternative investments. And that can include private investment pools, leveraged buyouts, debt funds, venture capital, funds of funds, secondary funds, warrants, mezzanine funds, all kind of stuff there. But the interesting thing to me about this, if you look in the corporate financial structure, the priority of claims, bank loans is the most secure, then secured loans, then these unsecured loans, mezzanine loans, alternative investments, and then preferred and common stock is last. So if your company's liquidating, the ones that get on the back end of that are the preferred and common stock, which is what we've had all of our money invested in years, in mutual funds and stock. And I thought it was just so great when I got to go before these folks and tell them, you know, you're raising Cain out here about alternative investments. That's going to be safer than what you got your money in now. We got, 75% of our money is in equities of some type out here, mutual funds or stocks. And you're raising hell at me about putting it in, alternative investments, which is going to be one level safer than what you got it in now. Hello. But anyway, that was a fun conversation to have with these folks. One other thing, and I'm going to stop and maybe let you ask a few questions. I got this out of the paper back several months ago. If I can find out when this was. This is several months ago. Okay, close, May of 11. And I've kept this with me. It's about teachers can't do everything. I don't know if anybody's in here is teachers. Teachers can't solve every problem. I keep this around, carry this with me usually when I speak or going to go talk to some folks about, the absolute ludicrous requirements that we try to put on our education system sometimes. We want teachers to be able to solve every darn problem, do everything for our children, and that's not what they're there for. I don't know if I was on the news a few weeks ago. Anybody see me with, what's his face, Paul Crowley on Channel 11? Huh? Nope. Nobody watches Channel 11. It's just clock, my God. My 2 seconds of fame. The guy called me on a Monday afternoon about 3 weeks ago, about 2 o'clock, and said, Howard, said, noticing you voted against a bill back a couple of years ago. I said, well, what was it, Mr. Crowley? It was a bullying bill. So you have any idea why you voted against it? I said, well, I don't even know what it was about right now. Bullying of school children. I said, the only thing I can suggest is it was probably requiring the school system to do something I thought we had no business doing. He said, great, I appreciate you mentioning that. I said, what have you heard today about your counterpart in the House wanting y'all to be monitoring the school systems to monitoring the Facebook bullying now that's going on? Well, I had a fit. I probably said some things I shouldn't have said. I told him I thought that was probably about the most ridiculous damn thing I've ever heard of in my life. But you got to be kidding me. Where in the hell's parental responsibility? Where are the parents in this thing? Where's the kids? I said, that will have the slimmest chance of a snowball that I've ever heard of trying to get out of the house. He said, where are you? I said, are you in Dallas? I said, no, I'm up at my real job in Cartersville. Give me the address. I need to come up and see you. I said, what for? He said, I got to get you on camera. I said, why? I just told you what I need to tell you. He said, listen, this is not radio. This is not print. It don't mean anything unless I can get a picture on the news. So anyway, he rode up to Cartersville. He was up there in about an hour and did a little thing out front. But anyway, one of our Democratic colleagues down in the House says that it's going to be the responsibility of our school systems. You know this little Facebook thing, Facebook bullying that came up a month or so ago, that this girl was, some of her peers went in there and set up a fake Facebook page, I think, and did all this stuff. And I think it's ridiculous, but, well, I just can't tell you what all I think about that. But So it's like I heard a guy talking the other day about time out. He said when he was growing up, he said we had time out a lot. My daddy took time out of his visual schedule every day just to blister my ass. And I'm thinking that's more the time out I think we need. But anyway, I think the parents of this child are suing the folks about that. But anyway, I had my little say, and he got me on the news. And I'm sorry I missed the greatest thing in the world. Well, I'm gonna stop here and let you ask me a few questions if you got any, if I can answer them.
I'll ask one, which is, the casual sales was the way that people gained the system to not have to pay sales tax or whatever. You got a title system. Under the current system, I think car's 25 years old. I can transfer it with a sales contract. Is that still the case?
You can still do that, but you're going to have to use. There's still going to be a small fee, I think, to pay on that. They've got they're going to either use the sales price, the bill of sale, or the counties have a little book value on vehicles. Now, when they get older, if you got an old '79 Ford pickup truck, F100 or whatever it is, it may be worth $300. You won't pay much on that. But if you got a '69 Barracuda that's, Hemi in it or whatever that's been restored, you start selling that, you'll pay a pretty good little price on that probably, or one of the old Super Sports or some of those. They're going to go either by the sales price of those older cars. Well, even on the newer cars, it's going to be either the individual sales will be the bill of sale or the book value that the county has in their books. Yes, ma'am.
Now, when you're purchasing a car, for example, like that, is it the purchaser that's going to be paying, like, to the Department of Revenue when they get their title, or does the seller also have to pay something?
No, it'll just be the purchaser. When you go up and get your tag in your name, or get the title in your name.
It'll just be like a higher title fee.
Well, actually, it's going to be about 6.5% right now. You pay roughly 7% sales tax when you buy the vehicle, plus you have to go up and pay the ad valorem when you change the title. A lot of times, if it's a new car, that's built into the sales price. But anytime you transfer titles, anytime you transfer a title between individuals, there'll be a title fee involved. Yes, sir.
If it's not overturned in court in the Supreme Court in June, how will the health care bill impact your next couple of years legislative session?
Well, we're still working on the exchange. We're still, that got beat last year, the Tea Party, and I don't know who all got involved that said we were caving to Obamacare and all that if we tried to set up exchange to get ahead of the curve. If we don't have an exchange set up in Georgia, then the feds come in here and tell us how we've got to manage our health care. We're working, we're praying that this thing all going to be overturned. We're working to try to be prepared in case it's not. So, and there's going to be a whole lot to do on that. So, but we do have the exchange in process. The insurance commissioner, we've got a great guy down there with Ralph Hutchins. Love Ralph. He's a great guy, smart. And I shouldn't say this, but I've never been known to keep my mouth quiet. Have a Ford. You're shaking your head. You want me to not say this? I was in Amelia Island last summer with a bunch of insurance folks, and Ralph was down there speaking before I got up to the panel to talk. And he came down off the podium, and I was up there, and I said, I want to tell you folks something. We got a great insurance commissioner down here. I love Ralph. I worked with him when he was the chairman of the Senate. He'd come over before the House and present bills to us, and I'd just wear him out with questions. But we had a good relationship. But I told the folks down there last summer, I said, the insurance department really, really enjoys working with Ralph Hutchins. I said, they can actually walk across the street to the Capitol now and ask for something without having to put a bag over their face and hide themselves. So, sorry. Forward.
On the charter bill, the process you go through to appeal when you come to the state, you've been turned down local level. Is that a volunteer body that handles that, or is it it's not a new bureaucracy we're creating to?
Yeah, it's basically going to be a charter school commission like we had before. We had a charter school commission that was pretty much a volunteer group. I don't think they may have got a per diem, but it'll go back before a charter school commission that'll be through the Department of Education. as far as I know. I mean, and that was what the rub was last time. The people that filed the lawsuit said the Constitution didn't specifically state that the state was able to go out here and establish any separate schools, but it says we're able to establish state schools, which are, we've already got 3 state schools. We got 2 schools for the blind, and the, Hear me out. I know we got the schools for the blind and the deaf. Blind and the deaf, yeah. So those are actually state schools right there. Yes, ma'am.
Where do you stand on the regional T-spots?
I don't have a problem with it. I think it's about the best option we came up with. We worked on that thing for years. I think the counties or the regions have done a good job in coming up with what they think is best for their areas, and I really don't have a problem with it. I'm going to vote for it when it comes up. I'm not out here beating the bushes or don't have a big drum that I'm going through town, beating about it, but I really don't have a problem with it. I think it's something that's, it would help us transportation-wise. One more, and I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get y'all get, yes, sir.
On the sales tax for the casual sale of the vehicles, does that include trade-ins? What's the trade-in a vehicle at the dealership? Is that?
God. Let's see if I got that in my book here. I've read how that will work. There is a procedure in place to take the trade-in value off. And I can't remember how that's going to work, to be honest with you. But there is a procedure in place when you trade in a vehicle.
To the dealership, is that considered a sale to the dealership?
Well, whoever they sell it to then, you don't pay anything on that. The dealer will take it in, and when they sell the vehicle, whoever purchases the vehicle then will have to go get the title on it. When they get, everything's going to be keyed on whoever buys the title. Now, through the insurance, I have a lot of people coming in to me and want to insure vehicles. I say, is the vehicle titled in your name? Well, no, it's actually my girlfriend's, or it's my aunt's, or it's my uncle's, or my daddy's. But I want to put it on my policy. And I said, well, you can't do that. According to, and I don't know how your company guidelines are, but we only insure the vehicle that's titled to you. I'm sorry, if you want it. Now you can co-title it. You can go out here and get the vehicle co-titled in your name or your daddy's name or your name and your girlfriend's name or your name and your sister's name or whatever. And if they're in your household, we'll put it on your policy. But the vehicle, it's got to be, your name has to be on the title for us to insure it. And, but it's only going to happen, it's only going to be affected at the time the title is transferred. Thank y'all for letting me come down. Thank you for letting me serve. I appreciate it.